if you are here to hear a story time, you are in the right place, because guess what? It is story time. Hey, best friend. What is up, my beautiful Glamazons? How you been, girl? I missed you so much. I hope that you are doing well right now, and I hope you are staying safe. Also, if this is your first time seeing my hair, girl, where you been? If you were wondering why I cut my hair, what had happened, definitely check out my last video. I actually cut my hair like this myself, okay, on camera, and I will show you how I did it, how scary it was, and how I turned it around. So definitely check out my latest video. I'll leave that video here and down in my description box below. But anyways, if you are new here to my channel, what's up? My name is Nikki. I tell stories here, do hair videos, fashion videos, Ask Nikki's, which are advice videos. If you're ever needing somebody to like give you their 2 cents, I'll be doing more Ask Nikki's here on my channel as well. So if you would like to be a part of my glam fam, I would love to have you. Please consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell for all of my different videos. You don't want to miss out. As per usual, before we get into the story time, I would like to pick out my Glamazon shot of the day. It's super simple. If you would like your chance, definitely send me your cutest selfie to either one of my handles, Twitter or Instagram. I toggle between the two. Here they are here. All you have to do is use the hashtag #GlamazonShot and of course tag your girl so I know that you really wanted my home skillet biscuits. So today we're going to be picking through Instagram because like honestly I don't even remember what we picked through last time, but I think it was, I don't know. Today's Glamazon shot is very close to my heart, and I just want to say, girl, I see you with all the love that you give me. Every time that you post a photo, you always tag me, you always let everybody know you're a part of my glam fam, and I just really appreciate you, and I just want to support you in your dream and your passion, which is makeup. Everyone say hello to our girl. You can find her on Instagram at Makeup by Allie, and I'm telling you, she works so hard on her looks. She is so passionate about this, and girl, you got skill, okay? And I just want to bring light to it. If y'all are looking for somebody to give you good makeup tips or create looks like this and let you guys know the products, definitely give our girl a follow. Thank you so much for all of your love and support for me and my passion and my craft. I support you 100%, girl. You are doing the damn thing. Everybody go give our girl a follow. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and support consistently. You guys don't know how much that means to me, and y'all know that I would not be here without you, and I could not do this without each and every one of your crazy asses. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, because I need to tell you the time that I turned on the person that was getting bullied. And I know that it seems like a little harsh, but I'm going to tell you why. You already know. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. So this story took place when I was 16 years old. I was at my shitty school, which is where my most ratchet stories come from. And this one is no different. So we are going to be talking about this girl, and we are going to name her Jenny. Okay. Now, Jenny was very, very quiet. She was a bookworm. I had a few classes with her, but like something was different about her. She was just one of those people that I don't know if maybe she had like an anxiety disorder or something like that, but there was something going on with her that really made her not socialized at all. And people like that, if I ever come across you, let's just say you in particular, and you are not a social person, anytime I come across a person like you, my attention is on you completely, because I used to be that way. And when I was that way, it wasn't because I didn't want to talk to anybody. It was because I literally had social anxiety that was crippling, and I just didn't think that I was worthy of being a part of somebody else's group, that anybody would want to be friends with me. I know what that feels like. So the minute that I see somebody that is sitting by themselves, or that is, just going through life by themselves, that's being outcasted, that's being othered, I can't stand it. I just can't. So the first time I ever encountered this girl, Jenny, was actually when I was 15, my freshman year. And when I transferred over to my shitty school, I saw her a few times, and she did ride my bus, but still I didn't know her. And she and I had a few classes freshman year, and then sophomore year we had even more classes, and still the same thing. I would try to talk to her in class like, hey, I never wanted to overwhelm her. I understand that feeling of being like, just like stay away from me. I'm not good with socialization, you know what I mean? And every time it was a quick encounter, like, hey, if she needed a pencil, I would give her a pencil. If she needed a partner in class for a certain assignment, that would be me, because nobody else wanted to do it. And I never understood why everybody treated her that way. And I made it known, like, y'all are so rude. Like, why y'all treating her like that? I was just one of those people that I was like, don't do that. That is Jenny. That's her personality. That's what I knew about her up until this point, until this story happened. So I know Jenny. Everybody knows Jenny. Nobody fucks with Jenny, and everybody seems to be really mean of Jenny, and she just kind of minded her own business and was just like there. Life is going on as per usual. And one day came around and we were getting ready to leave the school. It was after school, but everyone was getting all their things. And y'all know I live that bus life, okay? So I was getting my things to, head outside and wait for the buses. It was me and my girl Alicia, of course. And so, we get our stuff from the locker and, we're doing our normal thing. We walk outside to where the buses are and, we're just waiting, chilling with our friends. All of a sudden, I hear this commotion going on with a lot of kids laughing. And it was like sinister laughing, like laughing at someone. You know what I mean? Alicia and I hear this and we look over. There's a whole group of people. There's probably like 5 or 6. And some of them are girls, some of them are boys. And they're all kind of in like this U shape. And they're sitting there talking shit. They're laughing. Of course, we know we want to be all up in the business. So, we stand up and we look over and I see that all of those people are like standing in a U shape. And the person that's in front of them that's in the middle is Jenny. There was nothing, I don't know what was going on. Like she was just kind of like standing there and she was facing all of them. And they were all laughing at her and calling her names and like just vile, just calling her a biatch to her face. That's why nobody likes you. They were calling her weird and they were calling her like all kinds of names. Both Alicia and I were like, oh, right? I was glad that Alicia felt the same way because like you can really tell a lot about your friends when they can see that and like be cool with it. And I've never been cool with shit like that. So Alicia got upset. I got upset and I was like, I know they are not doing that to Jenny. Like, what the fuck? Jenny, to me, had never done anything to anybody to warrant that type of bad-spirited behavior. You know what I mean? Like, that is so rude and mean and damaging to somebody's self-esteem, and it can affect them for the rest of their life. There's so many things wrong with that. So like, what the fuck, So the kids that were actually over there that were laughing, that were seemingly laughing at Jenny, happened to be a few of my friends. I want to say like 2 of those girls I didn't know, but everybody else I knew. So I got up, and at this point, this was the second year of me being at this school. So, this was my shit. These were my friends. And so I got up and I did what I thought was best. And I went over there and I was like, what y'all doing right now? Like, are you serious? And I went to the dude who was my friend. He was a really good friend of mine. His name was Tony. And I was like, Tony, really, this is what you're doing? What the fuck? Meanwhile, Jenny grabs her backpack and like I said, she rode our bus. So she has no choice but to still wait out there even though people are treating her this way. So she grabbed her backpack and she went to another side of like the sidewalk so that she could sit by herself. Myself and Alicia are talking to our other friends like, what the fuck? Like, that is so rude. Like, that's what you're doing with your time for real. And so I start going at Tony and I was like, you ain't got no room to be talking. There were so many things going on between him and his girl at that time, and there were rumors that he was still peeing the bed. So girl, it was like a whole mess between him and his ex-girl. And him and his ex-girl were like really heavy, deeply involved, you know what I mean? Like, doing stuff at home at his house. When they broke up, things got messy and his ex-girlfriend was spreading it around the school that he had pee-peed in the bed. Like he had an issue with pee-peeing in the bed. And so I just found it funny that your pee-potter ass want to sit there and make Jenny feel bad and sit up there and be making fun of her in front of everybody when your ass, you gotta wear pull-ups or some shit because you don't know how to control your bladder. We ended up getting into an argument, Tony and I, because he was like, you ain't even gotta go there. You don't even know what you're talking about. You better verify your fucking facts. And like, you always getting into things that ain't none of your business. I was like, no, I just don't sit by and watch while somebody else is getting bullied, Tony. So we get into it and Alicia gets into it. She knew him really well too. She was like, Tony. And me and her were real loud. And so we go at him and his friends. Meanwhile, like the other girls that were a part of the group, they didn't say nothing to us because, it would have been a whole different thing. I was a whole different person back then. And so was Alicia. So, like they were like, and we didn't know them like that. So they stayed quiet. So it ended up being me and Alicia arguing with the boys. And then after a while, even though I went there, we ended up ending it on the good note, even though I embarrassed the hell out of him. But I was just like letting him know, if you do that to somebody that has social anxiety, that feels like they don't have the confidence to stand up for themselves and you're taking advantage of that, trust and believe me, I have the self-confidence to not only stand up for myself, but for her too. So come at her again if you want to. So fast forward, our buses finally start lining up and we start getting on the bus. And Jenny was the last person to get on. As per usual, she would wait wait until everybody got on, and then she would pick like the last seat. She always sat in the seat right behind the bus driver, and like nobody likes sitting there, right? So every time she would get on the bus, she was always the only person in that seat while everybody else was with their friends and sitting, you know, towards the back of the bus. Now, I'm gonna be real. I was very proud of myself, and I was very proud of Alicia for standing up for somebody like that, because, you know, I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of being bullied and wishing that somebody would have stood up for me, you know, and I felt like we did the right thing in that moment. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? Fast forward a few days, and this little part of the story is very random, but I just feel like it really says a lot about when you stand up for somebody, like everybody will kind of follow suit. And one day came around, Alicia, myself, and a few of our other friends, it wasn't lunch, we had like an off period together. But anyways, we were in the cafeteria, you know, just chilling. In the corner of the lunchroom, there was Jenny. Of course, as per usual, she's over there by herself, reading a book, doing whatever she wants to do. Nobody was bothering her, and me and my girls are, you know, sitting around our table as per usual, you know, just talking amongst ourselves. The topic of Tony and his girl and their drama that was so messy and everybody was talking about it came up again. And one of my other girlfriends, she was like, oh my god, like, you know, they still fighting and like they're still back and forth. I can't even believe it, like how embarrassing. And then she brought up the Tony thing, and she was like, oh my god, did y'all hear that like he be pee-peeing in the bed? And you know, like she was just now getting the tea that we had already gotten in the first place. And so before I could even answer, Alicia was like, girl, yes, like we heard about that. And not only did we hear about that, Nikki legit called him out the other day. You should have seen it. Like you should have been there, because he was over there trying to pick on Jenny, right? So she goes like this and she points over at Jenny, and all my friends look over at Jenny's table, and the girl that was actually bringing this up, and she was like, you know, chismeando about it. She was like, oh, she was like, that girl? She was like, I didn't even know her name was Jenny all this time. So then the topic of conversation became Jenny. The other girls wanted to know what happened, what I said, you know, so it was like a little mini story time, but Alicia was taking the reins, and she was like, yeah, girl, because, you know, they were out there trying to pick on Jenny. It was so messed up, the things that they were saying to her. And like, you know, me and Nikki had to go over there and like remind him. My other friends that were sitting at the table with us, you know, they hear this and they're like, oh my god, for real? Like that is so messed up. Like what the fuck? You know, like I hate that. I always wondered what her name was. Like she never talks to anybody. By the end of the conversation, my other friends that are sitting there, they're like, oh my god, like we didn't even know her. Like we've seen her and nobody knows about her, and like I didn't know whether or not to talk to her, you know what I mean? One of my friends, she was like, why don't I just go over there and ask her if she wants to come sit with us, you know, like, you know, maybe we can be her friends, that way she doesn't get picked on anymore. So Alicia was like, yes, girl, that is such a good idea. She was like, yeah, let's go invite her to our table. Let's let her know that we are her girls, we are here for her. You know, Alicia got up with my other friend, and I was like, yeah, tell her to come over here, you know what I mean? So I watch Alicia and another one of my friends walk over to Jenny's table, and they walk up, and I see Jenny sitting there and she's reading a book, and I just see Alicia and my other friend, like, you know, talking to her like, oh hey, you know, whatever. When I tell you, this girl did not look up from her book, not one time. You know, I see Alicia, my other friend, just kind of like sitting there like, yeah, haha, like all confused. And again, Jenny does not look up from the book at all. It's like they weren't even standing there. Like it was the craziest shit. And so I'm like, what the fuck? So finally, I see Alicia go, all right then. Her and my friend came back to the table. She sits down at the table. She was like, girl, she don't want to come over here. I was like, well, did she say that? She goes, no, she didn't say not a damn word. She was like, you know, to be honest, she real rude. She is rude. And I was like, she was like, maybe that's why people don't like to talk to her. Honestly, that experience and that interaction really rubbed all my friends the wrong way. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, that was really rude. I was like, but if she has social anxiety, even if she's invited, she may have like freaked out internally and just like decided to kind of go mute because she's nervous. Like, I get it. People deal with socialization differently when they have social anxiety. Does that make sense? So like, Honestly, I did not want to write her off immediately, and I didn't want my friends to write her off either. So I was like trying to play the devil's advocate, like, maybe she's just still really nervous. Maybe we kind of make her nervous. Maybe this, maybe that. Like, just leave her alone. If that's what she wants and she just wants to be left alone, that's fine. I just, I'm not going to sit by and watch her be bullied. Like, that's not going to happen. But whatever she wants to do, let her do that. We're going to respect what she wants. And, it's not helpful to do that to somebody with social anxiety, to try to force them to be social. It just goes against their very natures. Let's not make this into a bigger deal. I get that you feel rejected, but like, it's not that deep. Like, she's going through her own thing. Now, fast forward, girl, and we're going to talk about the problem. Bitch, fast forward a few days, just a few days. And it was a Friday. It was like to that Friday because everybody was acting crazy. You know how Fridays be at school. Everything is normal. Alicia and I meet up at our lockers. We get everything together. We go outside to wait for our buses. And on Fridays, there were even more kids out there waiting for buses because you had people's friends that were going to come to their house. And like, anybody could get on our buses. It didn't matter. I've said this before. It really was just like a free-for-all. If you went to our school, you could get on our bus. It did not matter. Everybody and their mama is out there. And we are just having such a good time. Everybody's all laughing and loud and just excited for the weekend and everything. The buses finally start lining up. Everybody's starting to, get on the bus. And at the time, I had my mans, okay? I had a boyfriend at the time. I was talking to him and Alicia had her mans out there and she was talking to him. He and I didn't get along, so we weren't really talking. But anyways, on Fridays, I never got on the bus first or in the middle. I always waited. Y'all all get on the bus. I'm not about to be fighting with y'all. I'm not gonna be pushed. If anybody pushes me, it's gonna be on and popping. So I would always like stand back and let everybody else get on the bus, and then Alicia and I would get on the bus because Fridays were just too much. So Alicia said bye to her mans and she gave him a kiss and whatever. She goes to get on the bus. I take a little bit more time because, I just be doing the most. And I was talking to my mans. I give him a kiss. We keep playing back and forth. I try to get on the bus. He pulls me back for another kiss. And I'm like, stop. You need to stop. Oh my God, stop playing. I'm going to miss my bus. Stop it. Okay. I gotta go. Bus driver, she knew me. She was real cool. And she was like, Nikki, if you don't get on this bus in 3 seconds, I'm going to leave. And I was like, okay, miss. Okay, I'm coming. So, I do that one more time with my mans and I finally get on the bus and I'm in such a good mood. So I get on the bus, y'all, and I walk up the stairs and I look down and everybody, the whole bus was so crowded. Like there were way too many kids on the bus. The noise on this bus is astronomical. I'm sitting there and Alicia found one of the last seats and she's like literally scrunched in with 3 other girls on a seat, and like it's supposed to just fit 3 people, but she's sitting there, like trying to fit herself on the edge, and she's like, hey girl. Okay, so I start looking around and everybody's literally like 4 to a seat. It was so bad, you guys, that when we were trying to take off, the bus driver refused to take off, and she looked up in her mirror and she was like, nah. She was like, all y'all need to figure it out. I don't care if you need to sit in the aisle. Everybody's butt needs to be planted somewhere. I cannot move this bus if any of y'all are standing. So everybody needs to sit down. Everybody, stops playing and they all like, sit somewhere. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, ma'am, I don't know where to sit. And she was like, Nikki, just find a spot. Legit, there are people sitting in the aisle, like on the floor. So nasty. I'm not doing that. That's disgusting. I'm not doing that. So I kind of make my way up and trying to see if there's anywhere that I can sit. And I look right next to me, and in the seat right behind our bus driver, there's Jenny. Just Jenny. And it was her and her backpack and her lunchbox right next to her. So there was an open seat that she was using for her personal things. I look over and I'm like, oh, I can sit right here. So I lean down and I tell Jenny, keep in mind, the bus driver is right there. So I lean down and I start talking to Jenny and I'm like, hey girl, I'm gonna sit right here because, she ain't gonna move until I sit down, all right? So I'm gonna sit down. So I sit there and I look at her because I'm not going to touch her things, right? She has to, when somebody tells you, hey, can I sit here? You're like, oh yeah, like let me get on my things for you, girl. And you move them. I was expecting that from Jenny. So I say that to her, and again, she's reading. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Jenny, can you just can you move some of your things, please? And again, She would not move. She was sitting there reading her book. Meanwhile, my bus driver is like, Nikki, just sit down. Like, we need to go. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, ma'am, she's not moving her things. Like, what you want me to do? And so my bus driver was like, just sit on it. Just move them yourself. Just sit down. And so I was like, all right. So by the instructions that were given to me by the bus driver that's sitting right there, she's telling me, move them yourself and just sit down. Like, just sit down so we could go. All right, then. So I go to grab Jenny's lunchbox and her backpack to like move them over. Tell me why this girl for the first time looks up from her book, does not look at me, and she goes, and she grabs on to her backpack. Meanwhile, I have her backpack and I'm trying to like move it. So she put her hand on top of her backpack, and while I'm trying to move it, she's keeping it there. Meanwhile, she will not look at me at all. She's just sitting there looking forward. We're literally fighting. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, no ma'am. You are not about to have me standing here looking stupid with the bus driver and everybody else yelling at me to sit down because you don't want to sit up here and share the seat that you have all to yourself. I am not here to be sitting on the floor because you want your damn backpack and your lunchbox to have this fucking seat. I'm not doing that. So girl, we ended up fucking fighting, like straight up. It was like a battle of the wills. And I was like, move your shit. Oh, you gonna sit up there and turn on me? For real? For real? You gonna do me like that? Are you for real? I grabbed her backpack. Boom, I snatched it with all my might. I snatched it right out of her hand. And I picked it up. Bam, I threw it right into her lap. Here you go, bitch. Don't fucking try that shit with me, all right? Don't you? I'm sitting here whether you like it or not. And say something to me and see what happens. Tired of your shit, okay? See if I ever stand up for you again. See if I ever tell anybody not to bully you again. Next time, I'ma just watch. But either way, I am going to sit here so that the bus can move and everybody else can get home without you and your pendejadas because you want to sit up there and be ugly to somebody who's never done anything to you. Never. Social anxiety or not does not give you the right to be sitting up there treating people like that when it's actually necessary. There was nowhere else for me to sit, girl. I don't want to sit next to you anyway. I still sat up against the edge because I don't want to sit next to you anyway with you acting like this. You are being very ugly, ma'am. So there was like a little bit of space between she and I because I don't want to be like shoulder to shoulder with her. I don't like the way that she's treating me and I don't like her in this moment. So she decides to take her backpack from her lap and put it in between us and then turn her back and like sit up against her backpack. So that way she's like pushing me off the seat. That is what game she was playing. And I was like, oh bitch, you are so lucky because if this was anybody else, we would be fighting right now. Like straight up, like she was legit pushing her body up against her backpack because she was so mad that I had to sit there. I had no choice but to sit there. So I end up going like this. You're not about to push me out this seat. That's not gonna happen. So we sitting there fighting, y'all. We fight like that the whole time. Just sitting there like going back and forth. And I was like, bitch, you ain't pushing me out. Bitch, you ain't pushing me out. You got me messed up. That's not gonna happen, okay? She was a bigger girl than me. She's over there playing her little stupid childish game and she goes to push and literally almost pushes me off the seat with her stupid shit. So I was like, so I plant my feet and boom, I just like let my whole body weight just go into her backpack and her ass said boom, and her whole head hit the window because of how hard I did it. And I was like, and what? I don't know why she was acting this way, but either way, all I need to do is sit there until we get to our first stop. I don't even have to sit there the whole way, okay? The minute somebody else opens up a seat for me, trust and believe me, I'm gonna move and you can have your little precious seat all to yourself. But you're gonna stop playing this game. So I'm gonna be real. I did that like 4 different times of me pushing myself up against her and she was hitting herself up against the window because I was not the bigger person back then. I really was not. So we went back and forth. She keeps getting messed up against the window all the way up until we get to the first stop. And then all these kids get off the first stop and immediately I was like, okay, Now I'm gonna leave. Now you get to have your little precious seat back. Don't worry. I was like, if you ever put your hands on me like that again, it's on and popping on sight. I was like, and you can handle all your business and all your bullying by yourself. Everybody has seen it. Everybody. So when I went to go sit with my friends and Alicia, other people were like, you see, that's why we don't mess with her. That is why. Because it's not just she's lonely, she's quiet, she got social anxiety. No. She is disrespectful and unnecessarily rude. And like, there even people that have not done anything to her, Nikki, she will react that way. Like, that's why we all feel the way that we feel about her. And I was like, oh, I did not know that. I understand you got your issues, baby girl. I got mine. But it still does not give you the right to behave that way when somebody literally has no other choice. Trust me, I'm not trying to invade your space. I'm not trying to make you social when you're not. I'm asking for a seat on the bus when there's no other seat anywhere else. And you gonna sit up there and fight me literally the whole fucking way? I'm not gonna lie, that was not the last time that she got bullied, but that was the very last time that I ever stood up for her. Every other time that I saw it, I'll walk right past. There's nothing I can do, because even if I stand up for you, you're gonna turn around and be a bitch to me for no absolute reason. And like, you only gotta do that to me but one time, just once. So that was the time that I turned on the girl that was being bullied, and I knew that she was getting bullied, and I didn't do anything going forward. And, you know, y'all can get upset with me all you want to, whatever. I was not going to continue to stand up for her and like try to tell my friends to be nice to her. For what? For what? You know, it's one thing to say that you don't like social environments, but it's quite another to use that as an excuse to be fucking rude. And she was in her right mind, obviously, enough to, she could hear, she could understand, like everything. She was in her right mind enough to sit there and make the decision that she was going to keep all of her things there and not allow me to sit down, and then fight with me physically the whole ride to our first stop. So it was just silly, it was stupid, it was unnecessary, it was rude as fuck, and nobody has a pass to just sit there and be rude. I don't care about your personal issues. In that moment, that does not matter. If somebody does not want to invade your personal space by choice, they are being made to because of this certain situation, then your issues and your social anxiety and all of that needs to be controlled by you for those few minutes. Just because I got anxiety, girl, just because somebody has anger issues doesn't mean they get to take that shit out on you, right? Y'all let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up. It helps your girl out a lot and definitely lets me know that you like story times. And if you're not a part of my glam fam, I would love to have you, girl. It is free. Just hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you always know every time I upload a new video. But thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that this story was funny and just got you out of your moment for a second. I hope you guys are doing well during this time, staying safe. I love y'all so much. And I will see your cute ass in my next video. Peace out, girl. It's just crazy because the person that was getting bullied the most was legit being a mean girl. Like, you can't sit with me. You can't sit here